Hi everybody, it's Albaz, and today I wanted to make a little video talking about YCS Orlando. That was this past weekend. I am recording this the Wednesday after the event concluded, so February 5th. I originally was going to do this Monday as soon as I got home from Orlando, but I was just so tired from driving and everything that I decided to wait a little bit and also just give myself some time to properly think over everything. And, well, let's see here. To start, the deck of choice that I took was Fiendsmith Yubel. This is a deck that I've been playing for a long time. In fact, I was playing Yubel as soon as Legacy of Destruction dropped. I just couldn't wait for Phantom of Yubel or the Fiendsmith engine to release to play the deck, because I kind of like the whole concept of battle reflectors, stuff like number 92 Hard Earth Dragon. I always liked that, and this is a whole archetype revolving around that, so it's like, okay, so this allows me to play pretty creatively, and ever since then, I've just been playing Yubel, and then when we got Phantom and Fiendsmith, upgraded the deck a good bit, and now it's hyper consistent. And for those wondering how well it did, I took it to day 2. I made it to round 10 before I received my third loss, so I bricked right out the gate day 2, so that sucked. And for those wondering what I played against, from rounds 1 to 8, I played against Ryzel. Round 9 was against Malice, and honestly, I don't care that I got de-shifted the way I did in round 9. I was just happy to not be looking at Ryzel cards again. So at the start of the event, it didn't bother me that I was playing against Ryzel. It was like, okay, round 1, Ryzel's pretty popular, and it was the Mitsurugi Ryzel to boot, so it's like, okay, so, new deck hype, because we just had Supreme Darkness drop, and people typically want to play the new stuff out of a new set during the events coming after. Fair enough. Round 2, another Mitsurugi Ryzel. Round 3, this is my first loss. My opponent just opened too many hand traps for me to play, and my hand couldn't play through it. Was against Ryzel again, and then keep going. Round 4, win. Round 5, win. Round 6, draw. Round 7, win. Round 8, win. Round 9, loss, but at that point, my day 2 was secured. But the whole day just felt like a huge blur because of playing against 8 Ryzel in a row. Now, I know I'm only one person, so I could have been just unlucky, but I don't know about that, because while I was sitting there at the event, on both sides of me, I would just about always see a Ryzel deck. I don't think I could look to my left or to my right and not see Ryzel. Did I see other decks? Sure. I believe I saw Mermail. I believe I saw Exodia. I also believe I saw Crystron maybe once. I saw Malice next to me, but, so, and looking at the result, looking at how the top cut turned out, yeah, we're in a tier 0 format, guys. There's no two ways about it. Ryzel's tier 0 right now, and it's absolutely obnoxious. I'm not saying that the deck is unbeatable. I mean, hell, I beat it, 6 times? So, it's not like my deck necessarily has a bad matchup, and I'm complaining, even though Dweller is annoying. It's just weariness from seeing the same cards over and over again. Now, I do expect that as the format moves along, we might see less Ryzel, we might see more of everything else, like Crystron, Heroes, even Speedroids, who knows. But right now, I do gotta agree with the overall thing, is that I know I know some YouTubers have to have been saying that we're in a tier 0 format, and yeah, we are. With Malice being the second best deck, but overall, it still feels like just about anything can compete, but it's gonna be rough for them, to put it simply, especially if they rely on the graveyard because of Ryzel's having access to Abyss Dweller, which is absolutely a card that needs to be banned. As long as Ryzel's at the top, Abyss Dweller needs to not exist. Another thing, even though I am playing Fiendsmith Yubel, I totally believe that the Fiendsmith engine is also on the chopping block as well, because this engine is incredibly splashable, just like how Orcus was back in Nightmare Mermaid's day, but this engine is honestly a lot stronger because it recycles itself so easily and does not have any locks. Like, with the Orcus engine with Nightmare Mermaid, you would have to do that at the end of your combo or as a backup option if you got disrupted. With the Fiendsmith engine, you can lead your combo with it to set up Triple D Wave High King Caesar to protect yourself from Nib and Bestials, while also baiting out Bestials and other hand traps. Or you can just throw up Fiendsmith's Desiree to give you 2 or 3 negates. I know they all happen all at once, but I mean, hey, being able to negate multiple cards at a time is still strong. But yeah, that's about it. I am gonna go into the deck profile right about now. I've got my whole thing set up, so yeah. So here's my Yubel deck profile. To start off with, I played the 2 Spirit of Yubel, the 1 regular Yubel, and 1 Terra Incarnate. You know, this seems like the standard setup most people play. Most people don't really go for the Ultimate Nightmare, even though during the event, the Ultimate Nightmare would have been a pretty good help in some games, either making them quicker or just allowing me to win altogether. Surprisingly enough, during Game 1 of Round 10, if I had the Ultimate Nightmare in here, my opponent would not have been able to have beaten me as that game, more likely than not. So, if you can justify it to yourself, then nobody can stop you from playing the Ultimate Nightmare. So, something to consider. So here's 3 copies of Samsara D Lotus, one of your 1-card starters, and also can be a backup plan to give you disruption should you be hand trapped and forced to use Phantom of Yubel later on. So, and 2 copies of Gruesome Grave Squirmer. So it's a card that it's helpful when you open it at times. Other times it's better to just be able to search it, but it never feels good running just 1, and running 3 doesn't feel like you could definitely get away with running 3 Gruesome Grave Squirmer. That's what I did before I got the Fiendsmith stuff, but 2 felt like the safe number, and I'll be running this in the next iteration of this deck Next up, we got 3 Dark Beckoning Beast and the 1 Chaos Summoning Beast, another one of your 1-card starters, and this is just a search off of this should you have to start with Opening of the Spirit Gate, since this can't search another copy of itself. But boy, am I happy we got 3 Opening of the Spirit Gates back. It just made the deck feel so much safer. Then we got 3 Fiendsmith Engraver, 1 Lacrima of the Crimson Tears, and the 1 Fabled Blurry. And I'll go ahead and throw this in here with Unchained Soul of Shavara. So, another one of your 1-card starters. And honestly, these 2 also count as 1-card starters, since any 1 Light Fiend monster will get you full combo, thanks to Area Leader and Muckracker, or Area Leader plus Opening of the Spirit Gates. And yeah, Yeah, this is just the piece you search off, the monster you search off Yama, allowing you to destroy Yubel, get some more steam going, as well as setting the Unchained traps from your deck. Well, one of them at least. And then for going second cards, hand traps, the 3 Bestial lineup, Magnemite, Drewsworm, and Baldrake. 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, 3 Nibiru, and 3 Droll and Lockbird. So, these 3 put in some work. This card also worked really well for me, allowing me to, and as did this one, both of these cards actually allowing me to end a couple of Raizo players' turns. There was one game where I nibbed them, and the token they had was 8,000 defense points. We all know what happened next. But this one, Ash just does not feel worth it right now. Like, unless the opponent's hand is not great right now, Ash just will do nothing more than stall for a second. So I do plan on keeping the Bestials, Nib, and Droll, but Ash I will be cutting in the upcoming in this new format. And that's it for the monster lineup. Now for spells, 3 Nightmare Throne, as well as 3 Opening of the Spirit Gates. Both these being some of your 1-card starters. I was fully expecting Nightmare Throne to get limited to 1 on the last ban list. I was not expecting them to bring Opening of the Spirit Gates back to 3. I believe this card was only at 1 for like a format and a half, maybe. I'm not entirely sure, and I'll go ahead. 1 Nightmare Pain, 1 Mature Chronicle, and 1 Fiendsmith's Tract. This card I am going to be bumping up to 2, and I will also be running Fiendsmith's Saint. I'm also going to be running Santa Claus in the next iteration of the deck, so that way this turns Tract and Engraver into going second cards, and the reason why I will run Fiendsmith Saint, which is the quick play spell that lets you summon a light fiend monster provided you don't control anything that isn't a light fiend, is so that way if I open Tract plus Engraver, I can just go ahead, search Santa Claus, and then still use Engraver to go combo. Or I can lead with Engraver. If they do something to it, then I can use Tract anyway. Mature Chronicle, this card did amazing during the format. It clutched me a whole handful of games that I really should not have won or shouldn't have won as quickly. The card is just really good for grind game and also good at providing you for your follow-up. Reason why I only ran 1 Nightmare Pain is since Opening the Spirit Gates is back at 3, and I was also running Mature Chronicle. I've got 2 ways I can recover it, so it really didn't feel like I needed more than 1. I think I'll keep that the ratio of all these except for Tract, like I said. Gonna bump that up to 2 and also run the Fiendsmith Saint. And then here's your generic spells, the 1 Terraforming, the 1 Call by the Grave, and the 3 Triple Tactics Talent. Another one of your 1-card starters, General Hand Trap Protection against Ash and Droll. And this card is arguably one of, if not the strongest spells in the format. Every time this card resolved at Orlando, it was crazy. There was a time my hand was just a total brick. There was one sequence where my opponent hit me with Perulia in the draw phase. I go Thrust because I'm just like, alright, screw it, I'll just grab Dimension Barrier and pass. They Ash the Thrust, I use this to draw. I draw into Gruesome Grave Squirmer and Engraver, and I proceed to just go full combo anyway, so this card will absolutely be staying. It's amazing right now. And, yeah, it's just really good into Fiendsmith into Ryzel and into Malice. Then we got the 1 Fiendsmith in Paradise, the 1 Abominable Chamber, and 1 Escape of the Unchained. All these did what they were supposed to. This to send Desiree, this to summon back Rage to you know, kind of layer your inboard. This to act as a just extra generic pop disruption. And then I also ran 3 infinite impermanents. This card also was just meh, like very performing at the event. We'll be cutting this. I'll probably keep I'll definitely going to keep all these in here. Even the Escape of the Unchained. I know most people just play the Chamber, so that way they can link off Rage and keep it engraved for Chamber to do whatever. But yeah, I'll probably keep an Escape, and this will probably end up being cut. Anyway, next up, I guess move on to the extra deck. That was a 51 card deck. I am trimming it down a good bit for the new list. So for the next deck list, here's Fiendsmith's Requiem, Fiendsmith's Sequence, Fiendsmith's Agnamundi, and Moon of the Closed Heaven. So all your Fiendsmith Link monsters, or for that engine, they did what they were supposed to. Like, we all know what these cards do at this point, so I don't feel much need to explain them. Then Unchained Soul Lord of Yama, Unchained Soul of Rage, and Unchained Soul of Anguish. I did play the Anguish, and it did come up. Really nice way to just clear out the opponent's field and help me make a Baoku going second. Felt really nice doing that. Would I cut it? Probably not, but engine does what it's supposed to do, which is search for another way, just help me layer my inboard better, so that way cards like Dark Ruler, Droplets, and Evenly don't hurt as much. And then for my generic links, Muckracker from the Underworld, Baoku, the Lightless Shadow, and SP Little Knight. So, I mean, this probably the strongest link monster in the game. A generic monster reborn for any of your fiends, and also allowing you to protect your fiends from being destroyed. And this card, we just got her in Supreme Darkness, and she did wonderfully at the event. For those that aren't fully aware, she requires 2 or more monsters, including a fiend, and once per turn during the main phase, you can, as a quick effect, you can discard a card, and then either destroy a card on the field without targeting, or special summon a lighter dark monster from the graveyard. One other thing she does is during the standby phase, you can draw 1 card for every different monster type that is in your graveyard, and then you place the same number of cards to the bottom of your deck in any order. So she helps facilitate better follow-up by allowing you to dig a little deeper into your deck and put back cards that you really don't want to see. Now for Xyz monsters, I do play the Triple D Wave High King Caesar and the 1 Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon Gustav Max. I'm gonna be honest, Varudris does not feel good this format. Or it doesn't feel good in this deck, I should say. There's really never a point when you want to make a rank 10 as part of the inboard, and Gustav Max is just there for like time purposes as well as closing out games. We all know what Caesar is here for, part of your Fiendsmith engine, just 2 generic ways to disrupt the opponent from special summoning. And then for fusions, Aerial Eater, Phantom of Yubel, and Fiendsmith Desiree. I do not play Necroquip Princess. There just didn't feel like there was enough room for it, and really, I think the only thing I would probably cut in its place would probably be the Unchained Soul of Anguish. But Anguish it feels like it helps more than Necroquip. There wasn't a point during the YCS where I missed Necroquip, so I'll probably keep the extra deck the same for the next iteration of the list. Aerial Eater, really good for that, helping with a lot of these 1-card combos that don't start with Lotus or Nightmare Throne. Just any 2 monsters go through the Fiendsmith engine, summon this, and then dump Samsara D Lotus or Spirit of Yubel, and then link into Muckracker, summon back, and then proceed to do my whole Yubel combo. And yeah, we all know this card got limited on the last list. one of your both of these just being disruptions. Yep, that's it for the extra deck. Now for the side deck, I had the 3 Mulcharmy Fululos and the 1 Perulia. Honestly, Mulcharmies don't feel like they do what they're supposed to do. They don't earn their keep. I'm probably not going to be running these in the next bit of my list, just because it feels like it doesn't feel like any decks really suffer under them right now. Like, there was one match I played where my opponent hit me with double Fululos and then 4 other hand traps, Ash, Bell, Imperm, and Druisworm. While I was comboing, they had 14 cards at the start of their hand, and I still won the game. Reason why I just decided to play into it is because it was game 3. We were 1-1, so either I'd win or I'd lose. And I won. Worked out for me. Then we have Lightning Storm, Harpy's Feather Duster, and the 1 Cosmic Cyclone. I am going to cut Cosmic Cyclone for Archfiend Eccentric, since that's another light fiend that I can search off Tract. And can be single removal for any problematic spells or traps, such as Rizal Cross. Then I also running the 2 Triple Tactics Thrust and the 2 Crossout Designator. I am going to bump Crossout Designator up to 3 in the next iteration of the list, since I'm going to be cutting the Mulcharmies. I'm going to throw in 3 Lancias and then throw in the 3rd Crossout Designator, so I'll have better cover, better ways to protect myself against hand traps such as Droll, Nib, and Bestials. And yeah, that's about it for the spells. We all know what Thrust is here for. Thrust did great during the tournament. Like I said, it helped me bait an opponent's Ash Blossom, because they knew I was probably going for a turn skip trap, and so they ashed it, which allowed me to talents to draw into combo. And there was another game where after my opponent hit me with Dweller, I was able to search evenly and just wipe their field and proceed to win the game. Then for other traps, we got Destructive Daruma Karma Cannon, Dimension Barrier, Evenly Matched, and Rivalry of the Warlords. This card, like, the one thing it doesn't really help against is Malice, obviously, but against Fiendsmith decks, Rizal, or whatever else, really nice to just slow down or stop the opponent entirely. It can work as a going second card, but if Detonator still has materials under it, then Rivalry's not doing jack. And yeah, that was about it for this list, and that was my experience at YCS Orlando. I guess, like, right now, the format is definitely Tier 0, but we'll see how it shapes up. Anyway, this has been it, so I'll catch y'all later.